Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I love that no matter where we are in the world, regardless of the time zone, we can always come together at the same place and at the same time to have amazing conversation. That being said, the conversation may not be super amazing since it's just me and I don't have a guest on here. For those of you that don't know, I am Denise Mirtha Bachman. I am actually here in Houston, Texas. So if you're out there and you're listening, put in the comments below where you are tuning in from. This is my only one solo show. Now I have other shows and I have had solo appearances, but this is my only solo show. So if you're here for great conversation, that means you have to participate in the comments. If you don't, it's just me talking, which is okay too, right? This is purely as a means to hold myself accountable. We should all be accountable for ourselves. However, I kind of put the onus now on you guys on LinkedIn, whether you're paying attention or not. I now am accountable to LinkedIn because I've put it out there that I do these shows Mondays at 11:30 Central Houston, Texas time. And so for that purpose, I am here to share all things about the human behind human AI cells. And my goal is to take and transcribe these videos and leverage the output for for what I think will be a good project. I'll share more about that at a later date, but really this is my way to share little bits and pieces of information so I can take and transcribe these videos. For me to traditionally do a selfie video where I record it first takes me a little bit longer. And so this is my one way to just get the information out. And it's just easier for me to do it this. So enough about that. Today, what I wanted to share a little bit, and the hope is that going forward, that whatever I share will tie it back to sales, AI, or humanity, and how a tip or takeaways or things that you can learn from my experiences in the past. So we've talked a lot about in the episodes prior to today a little bit more about me, but it's been centered around why I started my business, how my journey as an entrepreneur, the history or the experiences that got me there. So the 30 plus years in sales. I've shared more information than we've really, and with little tying back to what does that mean? So what's the point of that? So that's where we're going to start today, is making sure that whatever story I tell today, we tie it back with some great practical tips and giveaways that you should be leveraging when you walk away from this session. So for those that are out there, again, I'm super excited that you're here and excited to be out here on a Monday afternoon. So be sure to let us know if you're on Team Live, where you are watching from. If you're Team Replay, please do the same. You can leave the hashtag team replay. I've had too much coffee already this morning, so I have an empty cup and I am not drinking right now. But leave it as well as that your team replay so that I can come back and engage with you. But today's story or today's topic is really going to be all centered around my first sales job. So if you recall one of my posts, or maybe it was even this last episode, I did talk about, I've been in sales all of my life. My father had been a salesperson. While he was a EMT, he would work 24 on and 48 off. So in those 48 offs, he always had some sort of sales job. So I've been around sales my entire life. But my very first sales job or my first sales gig, which was when I was a kid, we're not counting that as my first real experience, but I can remember in wanting to invite people to have them pay so that they could watch me do a dance with my neighborhood friends. And then I also had a lemonade stand. So, we've all experienced, or many of us that are in sales in particular have experienced some sort of sales pre our real sales career. So that was a little glimpse into that. But my real first sales job. Okay, let me qualify that. My first sales job was actually, my first real sales job was in college, where I sold shoes for a department store. And I did work on commission only. I don't count that one as much though, because that was not really, I mean, I worked other jobs, and it wasn't really my career at the time. I was a full-time student, and that was something that I did part-time, not realizing at the moment, because then I was studying music, and I had not anticipated that I would be doing anything sales related. So that was really just because I loved that, the people I worked with, and it's anyway. So long story short, I did sell shoes then. My takeaway then is uh, I learned that feet are important, and I don't really love feet. That was my takeaway. But my real first job out of college that wasn't retail sales, that was a true sales position, was when I sold long distance. Yes. So this dates me, right? I sold long distance, door to door. Now it was business door to door. So I had a territory. I would pick out the office building I was going to start with. I'd head to that office building. I would have to go inside. I'd have to knock on doors, or simply walk in if they were, if you didn't have, if they were unlocked and looked like a full-fledged business, I would have to walk in and I'd have to meet the gatekeeper. So if you've never sold door to door, first off, I would never recommend it. That's not the takeaway, but I would say that was the hardest job. If you are worried about fear and rejection, or the fear of rejection, that is where you most certainly get to experience it, and you have to figure out how to navigate or overcome. Otherwise, you will not thrive at all. So that job I did here in Houston, Texas, and it was my entry point into sales, into the sales world as a career. It was hard, and it was when long distance had just really started evolving into a true commodity. Like, long distance was always a commodity, but in the truest form. Like, that was right before the age where you just didn't sell long distance door to door anymore. So I was on the edge of it just going out, just being really non-existent. People didn't do that anymore. So, but during that time, I would actually have to go in and have conversations with people. And it was, you'd always have to try to figure out how to get past the gatekeeper, right? So the takeaways that I learned from that, one is it was a great start to my sales career. It most certainly allowed me to get over that fear of rejection. It taught me how to work in the confines of, having to navigate a gatekeeper, as we call it. It also, I had to learn how to give value right at the beginning, have a value prop, elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it. And it also really helped me to start focusing on how to build business relationships, because even then, back in, that was 1996, 97, 98-ish, right around there. That really forced me to see relationships from a different perspective. I'd come out of college and, just moved to Houston, and it was really about business acumen and building those true business relationships. That was really what fostered my love for sales and business in general. My takeaways, though, that I would share to you, that I would share with you right now, would be a few things. One is, in sales, sometimes we have to do the hard stuff. If you don't think door to door is hard, just go try it yourself. Find an excuse, have a pretend product, just go test it out. Even tell them you're just testing. You want to experience what a cold call looks like. If you've never done that before, you should do that. But sometimes you have to do the hard stuff, whether in life or in sales. The grunt work to get to a true sales position sometimes is worth every bit. You learn so very much. And sales is filled with a lot of no's. This is my second takeaway. Sales is filled with a lot of no's. So you're going to get more no's before you get yeses. And even when you start getting yeses, you're going to have more no's than you'll ever have yeses. That's just the life in sales. And the third is success doesn't happen overnight. It does take a lot of learning and experience. It's almost like riding a bike. You try 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times before you can actually get up and stay up, right? Conceptually, this is the same thing. So if I were to take those 3 takeaways and really share something of value to those of you who are currently embarking in the sales world, right? You're just starting your journey in sales. I would tell you not to give up, that it is going to be hard in the beginning. There are so many different things you have to learn in order to be successful. And a lot of times that success doesn't happen until you've gained some experience. So just keep persevering. Even through all of those no's usually will get you to those yeses faster, right? Those no's are where you learn how to get to those yeses. So take the no's, right? Persevere. It takes determination. It takes perseverance. And the other thing is I would recognize, oh, and we've got someone who commented, sorry about that. Hey, from Los Angeles, Chella, look, I'm going to show her. And I would just say that, my takeaway is it doesn't happen overnight, because it doesn't. As you persevere, just know that the more you do it, the more you exercise it, the more you get in front of people, the more you message, the more success you'll see eventually. But it's a journey, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Yes, it's a marathon, right? Which is long. Did I get that right? That's really weird that I don't know that. But maybe it's because it's a Monday and I've had too much coffee today. I don't know. Anyway, I do these really as a way to hold myself accountable, or have LinkedIn hold me accountable for this content that I'm putting out. These are just 10 to 15-minute snippets once a week on Mondays at 11 a.m. Central, 11:30 a.m. Central, which is Houston, Texas time. I have been sharing bits and pieces of kind of my past experience, how I launched Success with AI, my journey as an entrepreneur, and each week will cover something different. What I've just incorporated now is how you take what I have been sharing from my past experiences and leverage them for your own lives. So what are some of the takeaways, and how can we leverage some of the things I've experienced for your own benefit? So today was purely centered around my first sales gig, which, Chell, I don't know when you joined, but I actually sold long distance, door to door. It was business, but it was door to door. And I learned the value of a no. Because the value of a no means that you'll eventually get to a yes, right? It taught me, or you had to learn from those no's. That success doesn't happen overnight, and that sometimes we have to do the hard stuff, right? Sometimes we have to in fact, not just sometimes, we have to do the hard stuff to get to the good, easy stuff, right? Nothing comes easy anyway. It may seem like it, but it does not. So I've now extended, I'm like at 13, almost 14 minutes. So I want to thank everyone who was out there today. Let us know where you're from. Chella was here from Los Angeles. Again, I'm here on Mondays, 11:30 a.m. Central, Houston, Texas time. I look forward to seeing you guys here next week. I hope you learned a little bit from what I shared. And more importantly, this is my way to hold myself accountable, or have LinkedIn hold me accountable, because I'm excited. I'm going to take these, transcribe them, and do something with them from an output perspective. So I'll share what that might look like later on. Anyway, be sure to, again, let me know if you're on Team Live or Team Replay. See you again here next week. Thank you for being out there. Have a wonderful start to your week. Thanks, everyone, and bye, Chella.